But this is what the Matrix wants from you as a man. They want the woman in charge and the man below with no backbone, because if the woman's in charge, they can emotionally affect her. They can scare her. You can scare a woman easier than you can scare a man.
Disclaimer.
So what up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Luke, and yes, guys, welcome back to Primal Spirit Distillery. And of course, I'm joined by...
Oh, what it do? It's your boy Chris, but you already knew that. And we got a familiar face back in the house. What's happening, bro?
Yes, sir. ATB back.
Yes, sir. Nah, that's dope, bro.
I mean, it's been a while, yeah?
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a
Tell me
minute,
about it, bro. Life kept me away, but yeah, I'm back.
Are you back now? We needed you back, bro. Yeah, gentlemen, got an interesting one that we're going to be talking about today. A while back, myself, Luke, Tony, shout out Tony, Team Primal. Yeah, we had a discussion that, you know how a lot of the times they're suppressing masculine traits, right? Like there's almost like a toxic hashtag attached to masculinity, and there's times where, and we discussed it at length, the three of us, like, you know, there are times where actually it is proper for you to be in masculine frame and it helps. And one of the ways that the most blunt, one of the most obvious things that we see this being happening at is with gangsterism, unfortunately, because you're looking at connotations of brotherhood, you're looking at connotations of protecting your own. There's an unwritten code. Sometimes there is a written code. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think, okay, I think I'm going to pose it this way. Do you think that traditionally men are bound together by certain core values apart from just the situation that they find themselves in?
Yes. Yeah, they are. Yeah. We are bound by like core values.
Like what's an
Regardless of the
example you
situation.
think? Like, let's say the three of us have never met before. What do you think will be one thing at the back of all of us' mind that we sort of have in common? And if we needed to present that, we'd be like, yo, we all get with that.
Our struggles as men.
Our struggles.
Yeah. We might not be from the same geographical location or the same background, but the struggles are somehow similar in society. We're talking about on an emotional level, mental level, resourceful level, yes, which we refer to as finances.
Straight.
Exactly. So those are like the core values, and what can I say? In our attempt, or rather, in our vying for these resources, you somehow establish that code to say, okay, this is what defines us as man. I don't know if you get me.
I kind of get you.
Yeah.
What's your take on that, bro?
Yeah, I would say yes. Most of the time, yes, but sometimes no. Why would I say most of the time yes? Because some dudes, we are binded by a couple of things that I like to look at as maybe religion, lifetime goals, and beliefs. Okay, religion and beliefs is basically one of the same thing. If we say lifetime goals, if your goals are kind of similar to mine, it's going to force us to take the similar direction towards achieving it. So they say one finger can't wash the whole face, so the whole hand is needed. So if I'm smart, I'm going to have to work with you. So it's going to make us like a pair. It's going to bind us. Now what's binding us there is our lifetime goal. So why would I say no? Well, beliefs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can have
as
differences
humans,
in beliefs.
exactly.
Yeah.
We have the right to believe in whatever you want, the right to whatever religion you want. So that whole choice-making thing tends to also like diverge our paths as men, even though we all come from one at the end of the day. So yeah.
No, but that's really interesting. I mean, on my side, I'd say, because you made a good point, struggles, beliefs, the obvious one being the environment. If we're all from the same neighborhood, we can kind of all understand one another.
Yeah, it's easy for us
to relate because the reality we face is similar. We all see the same things, we all experience the same things.
Yeah.
We almost all have the same struggle, right? But then, you know, even if we do have these things, and there's so many common denominators among men these days, there's this lone wolf culture that's being pushed out there, right? The standalone man, the guy in the field. You know, it's become a bit of a cliche, right? Guy in the field, and he's like here to slay all the monsters. They use a cartoon character. I don't know if you all have watched Berserk. It's some anime with some guy's like a giant sword and he kills monsters and he's badass, bro. Like he is, whoa. But anyway, that's the image that we are being shown these days as men, right? And it's kind of contrary to what we're saying right now, because we're saying, look, as men, there are things that bind us together. But now society is saying, yeah, there are things that bind you together, but now you need to stand alone because those guys are basically the monsters that you need to kill. I mean,
that's what it does. I mean, have you seen that whole? I think it's mostly in memes. You see it. It's like a bunch of dudes going the right way,
and there's the one guy
who's going
the
like
outlier.
this side, which is like I've never really understood that concept because at the end of the day, like you stated, what was the idiom? What one finger?
One finger can't wash the whole face. You need the whole hand.
Exactly. Do you get it? It feeds into that idiom. Some say a man is not an island of himself, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's people really understand that we are people because of other people.
Exactly.
And if
otherwise, the word wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
It would never exist. It would never exist. So that whole it's quite toxic, yeah.
It is, but the way it's now so common, the way it's been proliferated into culture, you know how we had the alpha male thing come up?
Yeah.
And then everybody was trying to get on that. Everyone wanted to be alpha and they took extreme lengths to get there.
Everyone is still alpha.
No, not really. Everyone's trying to be sigma now, bro.
For real?
Yeah, bro, the sigma male
Okay, but what's the difference between the sigma male and the alpha male? Because the traits, Chris, the traits are literally similar.
No, but the sigma male is a stoic, right? The sigma male is stoic as you like it. So the sigma male is the type of dude who he stands alone. He is not bound by social norms and conventions.
But that's how alpha males were presented as well from the very beginning, Chris.
Alpha males are like the patriarchs.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the same thing. It's like sigma males hold the same standards, right? It's just now they are stoic and it's very much evident. But it's the same with alpha males. I mean, does Top G not identify himself as alpha male?
Top G did identify as an alpha male, but I don't know if you've seen recently, he doesn't preach that message as loudly as he used to.
Message him on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You fuck the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me. So,
look, bro, here's Top G, and the difference in Top G, let's say Top G 2021 versus Top G 2023, if you analyze him carefully, you're going to see there was a bit of a paradigm shift, apart from the whole religion thing. He's not as bashful of women as he used to be. He's not as, like, he's now, think of it this way, in the group of alphas, right? He did what? He isolated himself. He is Top G for that reason. He's the guy now. Like, he calls himself Morpheus, bro. That guy from The Matrix, right? How much more isolationist do you want to get?
No, but the thing is, remember, he's cleaning his public image.
He is,
So
but
that's
then
the more reason.
look at the influence he's got, bro. If we're saying we want everybody to be alpha and we have a pool of alphas and the voice of reason there is like, okay, that was fun. And now he stands alone, bro.
No, it's called being smart, bro.
It is.
It's called being smart. It's just a thing of being smart and presenting yourself in a different manner,
Okay.
right? But the attributes are still the same. It's just that you're not vocal about it anymore. It's like you're no longer vocal about it. But it's polished now. You still hold on to the same value, but not as explicit as before. It's now implicitly said so, right? you're implying it, but you're not direct as, you know? Because, I mean, in that BBC interview, he literally dodged a lot of things.
He did. Yeah.
This man isolated himself from his past image like no one's business.
About what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion, and I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe
They're not my words.
Coercion.
They're words
and
you
emotional
found. They're
manipulation.
words you found on the internet, and Sophie doesn't exist.
On your
so let's move on to the
website,
next subject.
In your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. That's coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
What you've found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
Your
put in jail.
website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website.
And I was just like, what in the world? This dude. But then I understood it. I mean, from a marketing perspective, I understood, okay, cool. It's just establishing himself different, repositioning himself in this market because he's about to sell a different message and appeal to a different audience that it's not entirely shifting from what he was preaching. No. Because the whole message was the protection of masculinity. I'm your hero. I'm trying to lead you to a paradise, a utopia somewhere there, right? He won't isolate himself from there. It's just, okay, it's now clean. I'm preaching just masculinity, values, and he adopted religion as well. Because remember, he was not religious as he is now. It's religion, God, this and that. Yeah, so it's sort of like that.
I think some self-introspect was done. That's why he's now trying to avoid his past self.
I see.
Because there's no way you're going to keep on, there's no way you alone will beat the world.
You can never beat a system that you found.
True.
So he looked at it as in, you know what, what's the alternative path to me potentially keeping what I have left? Because he nearly lost everything. It's that simple. Plus, the whole alpha male and sigma male thingy. The only way for us to get the true difference is by examining the differences and, I mean, the advantages and the disadvantages. And the characteristics of both. What is an alpha male?
But why can't it just be male? A male in his masculinity.
I mean, you don't have to be alpha to be seen or to be recognized in the position you deserve. You don't need to have a title to something for it to be your happiness.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's literally no, Chris, like there's no reason. Masculinity should be a natural thing.
Okay.
Because that's the image in which you were made. It's like, my father did not need to tell me he's a sigma or an alpha male for me to know he's a male.
Yeah.
And in his masculinity. I observed it and therefore I imitated. Right?
What about the dynamics? And it's interesting that you said that because, you know, as kids, we learn from our parents, right? At any point, let's say, did you see your dad hanging out with other men? And if you did, what was the interaction among them? Or was your dad more like a standalone kind of guy? Like he had friends over there, but then they wouldn't be bunched up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, now he was not a standalone type of guy.
He was a social person.
Yeah, he was a very social individual.
He's a very social individual with his people there, right? And they're men, obviously. I mean,
yeah, it's
on my end, my dad isn't that kind of guy. Like he's got friends, but then he keeps to himself, right? And that's what, okay, so then there's two frames that we're looking at it now. Because if we're looking masculinity, we're talking all the traits that come with it. And one of the biggest ones that we're talking about now, or the topic here, is basically aggression, right? Which doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can channel aggression into proper ways or means. You can.
Yeah.
So now we have two different frames of reference where you see, let's say, the man in this context with other men interacting, and that's a good thing. That's a sign of strength. I see a man in another light and be like, okay, a man is more standalone, as in like, he knows people, fine.
He still interacted with people.
Of course, he interacted with people, but that's just the kind of person that he is. Like, he's a very, not withdrawn, but he's a quiet guy. And he keeps to himself.
No, but that's not difference in masculinity, though. I don't think we can literally put.
No. We won't put masculinity. That's not a measure.
I think it's just. What can I say? it's just a threat. Like it's one of those things. Like I like my space. I can interact with people.
Privacy.
Exactly. I can interact with men, but I like my space. I reserve to.
see.
I mean, which is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. But I don't think masculinity can be measured on that.
It can't be measured on that. Yeah, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying, let us say, for example, right? Let's look at a gang, for example, right?
Okay.
It's a group of men. In this case, let us assume that this gang is a male gang, right? It's a bunch of men there.
There's hardly a female gang, so
A lot of female gangs are just derivatives of male gangs. Like, unfortunately, it is.
bro,
Hey, that's true.
No, you'd have the Bloods gang and then the female Bloods. Like, the fact that there's got to be female, whatever, just...
the only way they can actually get that name, Blood Female Gang, is if they dating the Bloods, the males. They ain't just gonna get that initiative.
And
on
do you
their own.
realize they tend to adopt a lot of masculine traits?
They do.
Yeah, they
Even
are.
in the... Yeah,
That's why the word
absolutely.
tomboy now exists.
Straight up.
Because they behave like the people they copy.
Exactly. Their influences, they can't be soft. Because I don't know how many gangsters are soft. Like, John Gotti maybe, but he was all lavish. But bet he wasn't soft. He killed a bunch of people. So, not soft. So in a gang dynamic, right, you've got all this masculine energy bouncing around like that. Let's say you've got a Morpheus character in there. And that Morpheus character, masculine as he is like, nah, I'm going to take a step to the side. Now, if we need to compare these two scenarios, right, where do you think he's got the most strength, according to how you see it? Do you think his strength, his pillar of support, the gang, is better for him, or is it better that he stands alone, knowing what he knows about that life and that culture and everything like that?
Like a Morpheus.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Morpheus, that type of Morpheus, right? An individual who isolates himself from his gang. It can only thrive for a while before he begins to depend on his fellow group members. Like, he cannot go alone. It's impossible. Chris, a leader is only a leader. A Morpheus is only a Morpheus because it's trying to save people, right? Without the people, without a group, he's a useless person. He's no Morpheus. Who's going to call him Morpheus? Himself.
He can call himself Morpheus.
Yeah, but his name is irrelevant because he's not living up to it. Top G is only Top G because he's our Top G, right? And we put him on that pedestal.
No, he's top G to women too.
Not really.
No, like his logic is, right, because I can do A, B, C, D, E for a woman, in her mind, I am top G to her, right? I think he coined the phrase top G as a reference to what women probably think of him, like he's the top G. And it stuck, and now he's top G.
No, but I think it holds much more ground when it's coming from your fellow man. Because we acknowledge your strength and we acknowledge your achievements.
Yeah.
You know, for Chris, competition, right? A competition is only amongst men, right? You know, we're vying for resources.
Absolutely.
And women tend to choose based on how many resources you've acquired as a man.
Straight up.
So that means Top G's name will only be relevant when we as men acknowledge that he's really Top G. And yes, majority of men acknowledge that he's Top G.
I don't know, man.
So it's Morpheus.
Top G is a name, bro. It's not a title for me.
It's not a title,
top G
bro.
to me, bro.
Okay, guys, I'm just saying what the public is saying, huh?
Plus, when you think of it, it's not that powerful. Top G, I mean, like, top G to who?
Guys,
No, you can be
okay,
Top
let's
G
leave it.
What's
to
the
your
reference?
past
No,
self.
within this context, right? Let's not invalidate Top G, please.
We won't.
No, we won't.
We won't.
We're just gonna. What we're gonna do is we're gonna critically analyze.
No, what you doing? Like,
No, we can. We are free to do that.
We are.
We are free to do that.
Yeah.
You are Top G, yes, but Top G to who?
It is, bro.
That's
For
Top
me,
G to
top G is
who?
his name. It ain't no title, bro.
Yeah.
He's not top G to me. I'm
Yeah.
top G to me, bro.
To me,
what you
yeah.
talking about? I am top
I can
G.
be called
in my
Top
view.
G in my family once I start boiling and stuff.
Straight up.
Because when I come in and I splash on everyone, they look at me, yo,
like,
Top
oh,
G.
he's top G.
like I stated, Chris, it's you're not relevant anymore if you isolate yourself completely from your group, because I mean, these groups only exist as a result of us benefiting from each other. Now, if you isolate yourself, then it doesn't stand. It's like, it doesn't stand. I don't know if I made sense, yeah?
I hear what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
No, and it makes sense. If I'm defined a certain way because I belong to a certain group, that definition is kind of relative, we can say, because it's relative to the group, the situation, the context, etc. But bro, some definitions are both relative and absolute. I know that sounds silly, but hear me out. Like,
No, but you actually right. Doesn't
yeah,
sound silly.
they are both relative and absolute.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
saying, right? Damn, what can I say? For example, right? I am a black man. Okay? That is relative and absolute. If I'm chilling with a bunch of white kids, right? Let's say race is the only differentiator among us. That's literally the only thing we got different, right? In that case, I am first and foremost a black man. Tick. Relative to that situation.
Yes.
Even after I step out of that dynamic,
You're still a
and I'm in
black
society at large, I'm in Greater Joburg. Joburg is multicultural as hell. You find freaking purple people, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the differentiator in that case, right? I could go there and they'll be like, okay, he's a man, or he's, I don't know, for example, your age or whatever, but yeah, I'm still a black man, bro. That didn't change just because I
absolute.
stepped out of
It
that
is
thing.
absolute.
Yeah. Hence, like, I agree with what you're saying, but if you're in an environment that promotes you to act a certain type of way, let's say if you're in an environment like you're in a gang or whatever, right? And I've never been part of, didn't really appeal to me, right?
Okay, but Chris, isn't race, color, and everything like an extrinsic whatever attributes? And I think we're gonna have to differentiate on it. If you are a part of a group, right, and you mean something to that group, what is it based on?
Your value to that group.
Intrinsic values or
Or extrinsic. Could be a bit of both, you know?
Yeah. It's how you weigh. I believe it's on how
nah?
you weigh.
But Chris, if we're talking about masculinity, I think don't you think it should solely be based on intrinsic values, Chris? Oh, okay, no, you're not good. No,
Yeah. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Forget.
Nah, say your point, say your
Nah,
point, say your
forget.
point.
No, please.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to understand it, because I'm
Yeah.
not like trying to rebuke it. I just want to hear what
No,
you're
forget
saying.
it, because now if I make that point, no, but I think it's still relevant. It's still be based on intrinsic values, but then in other circles, Chris, it's all based on height, the person's stature,
Physical, everything, yeah.
yeah. So, I think, no, it's relative.
Okay.
No, it's relative.
Now, but going off that,
It's relative.
do you think that there is a need, especially now, because like masculinity is a far cry from what it used to be? You know what I'm saying? In my personal opinion, I don't know about what anyone else thinks. It's a far cry from what it used to be, from what I knew it to be. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that there's a need for men to go back to those hunting parties, for lack of a better term, Henry? For you know how in a village setup you had the men that went to go hunt, they built brotherhoods and stuff. People might call it a gang, but I mean, look, a gang is bad connotations. But do you think there's a need now for men to band together now and actually bring back those hunting parties, those groups or those flocks where it's like the core values in here are this and this and this and this and that, and we don't change from that? Especially in this day and age, bro.
Yeah, when you say it in this day and age, I don't think so. Because times have changed.
True that.
Times have changed. Mindsets have changed. Because nowadays we all know that, having a team is for a purpose. My purpose for a team is probably to help me get to the top. And I said it to help me get to the top. Back then it was to help us. Because they lived as a flock, as a community back then. There wasn't really competition back then. The only competition probably was to rule the kingdom. Yeah. So basically nowadays, what I would say is not really, because what is the use of having a group of people gather together when they still don't understand their own morals in the modern day? Why would you gather? So I don't really look at it as in that. I think friendships will work. A tight circle.
No, but think about it, Henry. Chris asked about should we get back to those times, right?
Should we? Yeah.
No,
don't
because I think
so.
you know why it's necessary. You know why it's necessary? Because I mean the world is now connected. We in a space where of course our morals have been redefined completely, turned upside down, and not only that, Chris. I think we spoke about this some time back. There's been a decline in testosterone levels.
Steady, bro.
That means if a child of today was to be taken to the military,
He's gonna fail bad.
Bruv, you know, it's sad. Bruv, they did a testosterone level thing, like where the average 21-year-old from the year 1982, right, which is roughly 40 years ago, if you compare that person to a 21-year-old in 2022, the person in the 80s had at least double or if not more testosterone than this guy. Like, if you're talking primal instincts, bro, this guy could kill that guy in a heartbeat, bro. Like,
Yeah.
just like that, bro.
Yeah. And what is causing that whole decline? That's the question. What is causing it?
first of all,
Unfortunately, it's the changing times, bruv. You know what I'm saying? Sorry to cut you off there,
no,
bro.
I actually want
Because you know what I'm
to cut you
saying?
off.
When you said we don't necessarily need to get back to those times because, like, you know, times have changed. We don't need all these flocks, these hunting parties and all that stuff because times have changed. Yes, times have changed, but as much as it's for the good, because we literally don't need to kill each other anymore, you know what I'm saying? If it's not working out for me here, hey, look, I can just switch up the geography and go try elsewhere. Like, it's cool. Not to say that there won't be competition there. They will, but you know what I'm saying? Times have changed and there are so many comforts that have presented themselves that realistically, bro, I don't need to fend for myself as hard as I probably had to
Back then.
50, 60 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Where I could drop out of society. It's expected, bro. I'm sorry to say that, but as a dude, it's expected for you to drop out of society at some point. I could just be like, you know what? Screw all this. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And just chill.
Plus, we need
Okay,
to.
what do you mean it's expected? Yeah.
No, like,
I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry. You know why I say it's expected? Many times, right, society looks at a young man as like, a young man is a statistic, firstly. Let's just say that, right? In terms of many negative things, unemployment, blah, 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 you name it. You're in that stat already. Let's do that, right? And then you're in a time where realistically, you don't need to, let's say right now, less and less young men are getting married, having serious relationships, whatever.
That's true.
That's already, that expectation is taken off you. You know what I'm saying? People our age, in most cases, in the past would have been married or blah, blah, blah. Now, yeah, we don't expect you to be living out your mom's house, bro. Like, because you can't afford rent, bruv. No, like, legit, it's economy is chai, bro. You can't buy a fucking house. It's
That's
bad.
true. No, but Chris, before we go, I give Embry, because Embry had a point.
You had a point, bro.
Don't you think, Chris, there's one motivator, we spoke about it. Stock was a motivator, right? Yeah. Females were the motivator.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And I mean, we can't deny that, right?
Yeah.
From the very beginning, yeah?
Hectic.
The reason
Number
being,
one prize.
exactly. And the one reason as to why the one thing a man needed was because of, oh, Chris, forgive me. It was because of our religious beliefs, right? It placed so much value in marriages and establishing that union and having an household so much that has been turned upside down now in this modern age. So therefore, the need for men to work extra hard to please and establish this union is no longer there. Because guess what? I can attain the necessary needs that this union provided.
Outside of that,
Outside of that.
No, but
and to its full capacity.
you've always been able to, bro. I feel like, bro, you know.
Okay.
Because I won't lie, I still believe in hard work. Because a man needs everything by working for it.